Black like me. Black like me. Black like me.
You're listening to Black Like Me with Dr. Alex Gee, a podcast that invites you to experience the world through the perspective of one black man, one conversation, one story, or even one rant at a time. Here's Dr. Gee.
Hey, good people. Welcome back to another. Did I startle anyone? Hey, good people. Well, I think I startled my guests. Welcome back to another exciting, scintillating episode of Black Like Me podcast with Dr. Alex Gee. Hey, I'm so glad to be in the studio today. Glad to be talking about a number of things that's on my heart. I'm excited about season 11, and I say this at the beginning of every season, and they said it wouldn't last. But here we are, still talking, moving into the 200s in terms of the number of episodes that we have out, and I'm just really pleased and appreciative of my team and the folks who helped me put all of this together. And so we're in for a special treat because what I love to do early on in episodes is to have interesting and fun and thought-provoking conversations. I like the individual rants. I like my mic check. I like my mic drop at the end. But sometimes I like to talk with folks who I know really well to just shoot the breeze, shoot the crap, and talk about things that's going on in our world and in our lives. I'm about to show a little bit of my age. I'm in my early 60s. I look late 40s. But I remember watching Arsenio Hall, and he would talk about this segment of things that's called Things That Make You Go, But today's topic is somewhat reminiscent of that. But I want to entitle it Things That Make You Go, Shit.
Oh, yeah.
So things that you think about, that you encounter, that happen, and it just makes you pause for a moment and think, did that just happen? Did I just experience that? Did anyone else see it? Am I crazy? Is it going to happen again? What's going on? So when I thought about who could help me share this space and also help me bear the burden of using that naughty word, the S word, so that the full wrath wouldn't come upon me, I thought, you know what? I will invite my little sister because she's profane and vulgar. And so I am welcoming back to the microphone my sister, Lilada Gee. She really needs no introduction in these spaces. She's my younger sister. It's the two of us. Since our mother has passed, she thinks that she is now the big sister. She certainly is the matriarch, but she thinks that she's the big sister in this. She is a well-known cultural artist. Here in our community, she does murals, and she just did one at a school that we attended when we first moved to Wisconsin. At the university, at Madison Area Technical College, she paints fire hydrants because she's been contracted by the city of Monona. Everywhere I turn around, I see these signs. I'll drive around town and I'll see these signs of these cute little cartoons with no faces, and I'll think that's my sister's work. That's my sister's artwork. She's also a social worker and a mom and a pastor. She has her own podcast that's called Defending Black Girlhood. And that's called Defending Black Girlhood. And today we're just going to shoot the stuff as we just talk about a number of things that make us go, Lilada, welcome to Black Like Me podcast. How are you doing today?
Shit.
Hush your mouth. Oh, my goodness. We're Eli, you're certainly got to put that explicit lyrics label on. No. This is fun. This is really fun. Lilada, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
For those of you who don't know, Lilada and her daughter, Alexandra, and I had lunch a number of years ago where I lamented over the fact that I wanted to start a podcast, but I felt creatively stuck and quagmired without a name. And by the time we left that lunch, we'd come up with Black Like Me podcast. We think about Angry Black Man, like where we would go with that. And but Black Like Me stuck. And who knew it wasn't trademarked? I trademarked that sucker, got that name. And here it is, some 200 odd episodes later. You get a chance to come back around and see some of your work. So thank you for
Yeah.
being here and just chatting with me a little bit about those things that make us go, crap. Or if you're really feeling in the mood, shit.
Yeah.
Can I start off with one?
Yes.
Or are you ready to go?
Oh, no, you go ahead.
Okay. All right. So you know, Lilada, that I am busy. You're part of it as well as others in building the first of its kind in the state of Wisconsin and probably the first of its kind in the Midwest, a Center for Black Excellence in Culture. Almost 40,000 square feet. It is Black-led, Black designed, Black-inspired. It grew out of conversations and listening sessions with over 700 Black people in our community. That has never been done in Madison, Wisconsin history, or to my knowledge, in Wisconsin history. Our first 300 donors were Black. First time in Madison history, I'm sure first time in Wisconsin history. Our architect is Black, and interior designers are Black. Our listening sessions were Black because we wanted this to beat with this palpable pulse of Blackness. I think, how did you frame it, Lily?
Blickety black, black, black.
Blickety black, and unapologetically blickety black.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so we're doing this work. And in 3.5 years, Lilada, we've raised how much money?
Almost $30 million.
A little bit more than $30 million on a $31 million project. We're in this last stretch that's of a new campaign that's called History in the Making campaign, where we need to raise $1 million or $1 million more so that we'll have no debt on this facility.
That's awesome.
And we already have like 260 pledged. So we're like a quarter of the way. I'm so doggone excited that it's not even funny.
Yes.
But in the midst of all of this, other folks are doing things, leaders who look like us. Clem Care is leading One City School. It's not a Black project, but he is a Black influencer. Jack Daniels, who's not retired from Madison College. It's not a Black school. It's a leading technical school system here in our state. Of course, the flagship campus is here in Madison. They have two campuses, Truax and also South Madison. My friend Ruben Anthony, who is the CEO of the Urban League of Greater Madison, just built 45,000 square foot Black business hub that's connected with the Urban League. And other people are doing tremendous things in the community. Karen Collier is from the Latino community, who just led the campaign in building a new cerebrospinal facility. What's interesting is we all know each other. We have each other's cell numbers. We text each other. When I see Karen on a panel, she hugs me and she says, "Alex, how's Lexi doing?" Because I introduced her to Lexi when Lexi was my daughter. Lexi's my daughter, because Lexi's thinking about doing some work there because she's fluent in Spanish. Ruben and Karen and I have been on a couple of panels together where we'll ask each other, okay, who's going to take the question when they ask us? Are we competing against each other? Karen, it's your turn. Ruben, it's your turn. That's the setup. I was on an interview recently with a local magazine. And they're asking about, it's a magazine about, the interview is about Juneteenth. It's been celebrated for about 160 years. It's been in Madison for 30 plus. My organization used to administer it, oversee it, was the fiscal manager of it. So they're asking questions about my dreams for it, how it works. And then the question came up. So as we're listening to the community, what we're hearing is that there's some division in the Black community. And we just want to know how you feel about that and what's your comment on it. Something inside me did more than go, it went shit.
Man.
I said, okay, first of all, let me just say this. Had I known that you were going to ask me this question, I would have never picked up this phone. That's the only reason why I did not agree to talk about this with your magazine. So, but I also happen to know that when Mayor Paul Soglin led our city and County Executive Rick Phelps led our county as the county executive, they could not get along with each other. They could not stand each other. And nobody called it white male on white male. Nobody called it male on male. Nobody called it Democrat on Democrat. Nobody called any of that out. I remember at a time where the leader of a big nonprofit foundation did not get along with the leader of a financial institution, and they're both white women. Nobody called it women on woman. They never called it catty. They never called it white on white. I can go down the line telling you white folks who did not and do not get along in the community. Now, the reason why this really gets on my nerves, folks, is because between Jack Daniels endeavor at Madison College and Rubens at the Hub, Kaleem's at One City, my work at the Center for Black Excellence in Culture, and what Karen is doing at Centro Hispano, we in a mid-sized community that's predominantly white have raised an aggregate amount of $100 million.
Wow.
Why the hell is that not the story? Tell me what other city the size of Madison, not Austin because it's larger, Portland's probably larger, Milwaukee's way larger. Tell me a city where Black and brown leaders have raised $100 million in state, and they have each other's cell phones, and they celebrate each other, and they text each other, and we congratulate each other. We go to each other's groundbreakings and grand opening, but yet these white-led magazines want to find in the midst of that story some story about Black people not liking each other. And so I think I made the interviewer a little uncomfortable, and she was Black. And she said, she's just, she's an independent, what's it called? You're an independent writer for magazines. She's a freelancer. So so she was saying, I think she was trying to say, these are just questions I have, but it was someone Black who said it to me. I said, well, just because they're Black doesn't make it right. I try to put positive out in the community, and I get that back. So just because a Black person says Black people don't get along doesn't mean that Black people don't get along. Right. It might be that you don't get along with Black people, but that might be a personal or personality issue, but we're not going to put that on all Black people.
Right.
But I've been a community influencer in this community for 35 years. I've never had the sense of collegiality, connection with Black nonprofit leaders or Black pastors than I do right now. This is the most unified. I have more cell numbers. I go out for more celebrations. I connect more with these folks. I can name more spouses of my peers than I could 20, 25 years ago. But white magazines, white newspapers want to focus on the fact that this is what's going on. What I want to say is, all right, tell me 6 white leaders who have worked together and who raised $100 million in this city. We did this online because it was during the pandemic. We did this online because we were on lockdown because of COVID. We know how to not step over each other's toes. Rubens built a business hub. We're building a center of Black excellence in culture. And so that's something that just really, that just gets to me, that with all that's going on,
all the positivity that you're not finding. I told her, name me 3 communities in America where Black people are doing this right now. Why is that not your magazine's interest? Why are you not writing about that? Why is that not of interest to you? Of all the things we can talk about, what are the pitfalls? And I also told her, I have been in this role, these kinds of roles for 35 years. I can tell you that right now my issue is not Black people. My issue is not Black people who feel like we're not getting along. That may be an issue. That's not my issue. That's not who told me you can't do this, you won't do this, you shouldn't do this. It's just, you're just trying to work on your own legacy. Well, what about justified anger? Shouldn't you be working on that? Black people did not tell me that. Black people did not get into cahoots and make a decision about what they were going to fund and not fund. Black people didn't berate me in front of an interview council because they want to know, aren't we talking to each other as we're doing our work? And so if when we are positive, you can't find the positivity in us, that's not our issue. And this is just another reason why Black people struggle to stay in our community. Man,
I felt that all up my shoulder and neck and back. But does that make sense?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
And this is also why we have to control our own media. We have to tell our own stories, because what's going on in your head that you're seeing all of this productivity, and what you really want to know is, do y'all get along? Tell me 4 white people that get along. Because I'm around enough white people to hear what white people say about other white people. And it's
What
not
they say?
They think they're so woke, or they think they're, they'll just say stuff, or like, she's emoting, or he's got a Napoleon syndrome, or he's trying to run for some office. They're saying these things. about each other, but they expect every black person to be part of a monolith. So I'm also saying that for listeners who who might just become beside themselves when they hear two divergent opinions of black people. Like, like what's going on? The sky is falling. We can't have black people on different pages. I just want people to know, don't put that pressure on us because you need one clean black monolith so that you don't pick the wrong black side. Pick the side that makes sense, that's got sound books, that's got a credible campaign team, that's got a great business plan, that's listened to folks, that's relevant, that's thoughtful, and that is leading the state and the region. That's how you make a choice. But that's one that I just keep getting asked. And when it came up today, again, it just took me back to a very frustrated place.
Yes.
So that's my thing that makes me go, crap. Shit. Lilada, I heard you talk about one, but you can sidestep this one and do a whole nother one.
Okay.
But what about recently when you were at a medical appointment? We all have these various medical appointments. They're tense. They're kind of personal. You had to sit down and talk to people at the window before you leave, before you go in. And you're just trying to get checked in because you want to see your doctor and go back home and do the stuff that you want to do. And what were you asked at that window? Do you remember what appointment I was asking?
Well, actually, I was having some blood drawn.
Okay.
And
yes.
the tech asked me, so is it black or African American? Now,
it's AB negative. That's what it is.
Right. Well, I mean, part of it is I am there for an appointment because I've been diagnosed with breast cancer.
Yes.
So I'm focusing in on my health and what the outcome is.
I'm not laughing because I'm just like, this the way you set it up. I'm sorry.
I have breast cancer.
Okay. I'm sorry. You all, I'm not laughing at my sister. Lord knows it breaks my heart. But just the way you're setting it up. And then that's when she wants to have a very cultural, woke moment. And so what did she say again?
Like, is it black or is it African American? I'm just like, what the fuck? Am I giving a talk here? Or am I here about my own medical situation? I didn't come to teach you today, girl. Just take my blood and move on. I recently saw this video and it made this comment that white nurses are to black women as white police officers are to black men.
Oh, no. You need to say that again and say it slow for the people in the back.
White nurses, and I'll just say white doctors, white women doctors too, are to black women as white police officers are to black men. And that resonated with me so much because I feel so vulnerable being in the medical system right now and the type of experiences that I've had, even when I was going through being diagnosed, feeling like I can't speak up because you're about to take me back in a room and stick 6 needles in my breast, but
yeah.
I had a scenario with this nurse. I had 2 diazepam. And on the bottle, it said, it's Valium. On the bottle, it said, take 1.
And you can read because you have a triple major from the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
I can fucking read. So I'm talking to the woman and I'm trying to find out, okay, when do I take it? Because you need to take it so that it kicks in when you need it.
Right.
So when do I take it? And blah, 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 blah. And so I turn around and say something to my daughter. She said, the nurse was telling me, now you can only take 1. Yeah, I read that. So I turn around to say something to my daughter. And when I turned back around, she had opened up my bottle of medicine that I brought with me.
So this is not like the clinic medicine that they bring.
Didn't give me the medicine. I brought the medicine with me from my primary provider so that I could use it to relax. They didn't give it to me. I turned around and this woman had opened up my bottle and put one of my pills in the middle of her hands and handed it out to me.
Gloved or ungloved?
Ungloved. I'm like, are your hands clean? You know, what I wanted to say was, bitch, what you doing? But again, I know I'm about to go back and get poked in my breast, and I can't afford to anger these white women who have me in a very vulnerable situation. I can't afford to come off as the angry black woman in this situation because maybe I won't get the doctor that I need because they'll write a note that this is an angry woman. But I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
So you turned around and she had your medicine in her bare hands. She opened
Yes.
your medicine without any permission. She
No.
opened it, put it in her hand as if you don't know how to take the medicine.
Right.
Or so that you wouldn't be overusing it.
Right.
I mean,
and I could have used to. Truth
Right.
be told, given the situation.
Right.
Yeah.
So what did she say when you said, "Are your hands clean"?
Yeah, I just cleaned them. You know,
I'm 61 years old. I've never had a nurse, pharmacist, medical assistant, dental assistant. I've never had anybody hand me medicine with their bare hands
No.
since Mrs. Meyer, maybe the nurse at West High School, 100 years ago when we were there.
and it was my medicine that I brought. Even if it was medicine that she was bringing to me.
She shouldn't have had it in her bare hand.
No. No. And you know, and I think about another time when I went to the first appointment where I was going to get my diagnosis.
Yes.
It took them months to kind of take me through all these diagnostics to figure out exactly what type of
Sure.
breast cancer I had it spread, all this stuff. And so I had gone through all these tests over all this time. And I go to this first appointment where I'm going to be told what my diagnosis is. And I wore a dress. I wore a fucking dress because I wanted to feel good in that situation. And I get lectured to by this 22-year-old white girl about how they don't have a gown for me, and if they can't find a gown, you can just skip the exam if you want to, the physical exam. You can just skip the physical exam if you want to.
What a flippant thing to say.
The physical exam that's going to help determine what kind of cancer I have and what stage it's at and how big the lump is, I can skip that because y'all can't find, in this whole damn hospital that's big as a city, y'all can't find a gown for me to put on? I was like, do you know what department you working in? Do you know you working in oncology? Do you know you working in the breast center? Do you know why I'm here? I'm not here for a pedicure. And things like that, where, you know, I had told you about a number of situations that I had had. Mm-hmm. And I know that I can't have a situation where I can go off on people. Okay, I'll admit that. I'll admit that. And so you were trying to talk me down. Basically, I'm telling you all these experiences I'm having with these particularly young white women, these young white nurses, how disrespectful they're being in this situation. And you just kind of try to talk me down. Don't take it personally, da-da-da-da-da. But
I was sitting in the room when this
you
happened.
was sitting in the room when this happened.
I was sitting in the room when she said that.
And you went off.
Yeah.
You went off. I said, Alex, I tried to tell you what I go through when I come up here.
Yeah, that's you taking me back to that.
Yeah.
You're so, Lilada, just think, if I'm your brother and black and male, imagine how hard it might be for white women, white men, white folks listening, other ethnic groups that other people of color groups who are listening to this. It's hard to wrap our brains around these microaggressions and these things that take place, because I could imagine some people just saying, you know what, screw it, I'll just go home, or I won't even come back, but you don't need your blood pressure up. You don't need anything elevated when you're about to get this kind of information. But to go off and lecture you like that when you're about to see a leading oncologist about what's going inside you.
To get my final diagnosis.
That was negligent. It was egregious. It was ugly. It was petty. And somebody needed to take her out back and do something to her.
It got so bad. I remember one time I went to the hospital when I had a concussion. And this nurse started going through a litany of questions. And then some of the questions were, are you being abused at home? Are you suicidal? Are you... These questions that were very deep and invasive questions.
Right.
And she wasn't even looking at me when she was asking the questions. And she was so monotone when she was asking the questions. So I, as politely as my angry ass could be, asked her, and I was polite.
I believe you.
I was polite.
Now.
I said to her, you know, the type of questions you're asking are very deep and important questions. And if a person was in an abusive relationship or in an unsafe situation at home, I don't believe that they would tell you when you're not even looking at them, when you're asking these very deep, personal questions.
What did she say?
That helper told me, well, I've been doing this for 30 years, but like she couldn't even be humble enough to hear what I'm telling her that was just the truth. You're not even looking at me.
And you've done social work and therapy for 30 years.
Right.
And you know how to get those kinds of deep answers out of people because you look at them, you're not looking into a pad. But to think that just because she's in that space, she couldn't be wrong.
Right. She couldn't be wrong. And when I was going through the diagnostics, I had so many different negative experiences with white women through the process that I, honest to God, got to the point where I said, forget it. I'm not coming back up here. I just take what I got and go. I
hope someone who works for hospitals, health professionals, are listening and sharing this episode. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I hope somebody...
Fine. I mean, I am so serious. I literally was like, I am through because this is causing me so much stress and so much disrespect and so much mental injury that I don't want to keep exposing myself to this.
I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah.
And you know, this podcast has a broad listening base. And I think a lot of people are going to replay this and share this. Even if you think your friends who are doctors and nurses, and I don't care if it's in ophthalmology or dental, share it with them. Even if you think they don't need it, someone on their team does. So I'm just reminding the people, just make a note. Think about the people that you're going to share this with and ask them as a favor to you and to themselves and to their clients to listen to this. Wow. Wow. Man, oh man, is it crazy out here. And I don't think it's just me. Look, it's 2025. Trump is back in office, and some days it seems as if the sky is falling. There's so much uncertainty in the world right now, but I love that sitting down right here in front of this mic and letting the hard truths rumble out of my heart and off my chest is as certain as it ever was. Season 11 is gathering steam, and you're in for a real treat. Let me just tell you. When I reflect back on all of the seasons that we dropped here at Black Like Me podcast, each of them has had a special purpose, a one-of-a-kind lineup of guests, and its own unique feel. I also think about the thread that binds them all together. What we do here at Black Like Me is unique. I don't have another space that feels just like this, where I can really speak from my unique perspective. And the guests who have on the show remark that these interviews they do here are unlike any others that they've done in other places. Sure, nobody else does Black Icebreakers, but that's only part of it. We have created a truly unique space here where honest conversations about the thoughts, the ideas, the policies that affect Black people and that Black people care deeply about. And you know what? It isn't easy. And I don't do this all alone. I have an incredible team that has steadily grown over the years, and each person that joins adds another asset to what we can do here. And all of you that support us on Patreon, my people, my people, my people. We simply would not be able to do what we do or get what we have gotten without you. So as we look to even bigger and better things in the coming season, please help support the show right now by clicking the link to Patreon in the show notes and join the community of people supporting this unique and provocative space. In the world that we're living in, where there's so much attack on our perspectives, our history, our bodies, and our lives and contributions, aren't you glad you have a place where you can still hear powerful, exhilarating, intellectual Black thought like you do? I enjoy it. And so if you do too, share the good news, tell friends, click that Patreon link now. Thank you so much for your support of Black Like Me podcast with Dr. Alex Gee. I've never heard that comparison. White female nurses are the Black women, what police officers are the Black men. Mm-hmm. It's a place of trauma and fear, and then you never know that it's already a stressful situation because you're walking up in it.
Right. And, you know, it's one of the reasons Black women die from breast cancer more than white women. It's not that we necessarily get it more, but we are undiagnosed and we go untreated. It's just, I had a person who shared with me they had gone into the doctor and they found a spot on their breast. And they said, well, come back in 6 months and we'll check it out. At 6 months, they had to have a double mastectomy.
Wow.
They could have taken care of that.
Yes, they could have.
Then.
Was this a Black woman?
Yes.
And you say they go underdiagnosed and undertreated.
Yes.
Because instead of just taking the moment to do this, because there's still this perception that Black people don't have pain, Black women don't have pain. It makes me think about Dr. Sims, that wicked gynecologist,
Right.
who did gynecological procedures and things on Black women without anesthesia and stuff,
Right.
thinking that they have a different tolerance of pain. What was the meeting? Who decided that Black women have no pain? Who made that decision? And I don't know. My mind goes a whole lot of places. Because they were seen as the backbone in our community, and if we weaken them and get them, then there goes the community.
Right.
But
And even, with myself, I went to my provider and I said, I feel a lump. And she did a physical exam on me. Oh, no, that's nothing to worry about.
rather than elevating it and taking it to another level.
Yes. And this was years before I was diagnosed. At the same lump.
The same lump. The struggle is, folks, struggle is real. Wow, I feel like ending the show now.
Man.
This is 2025. And folks are worried about what Trump is doing on Pennsylvania Avenue. Trump wasn't in office when those things were happening.
That's right.
There are so many things that are taking black people out that Trump is Trump. But while everyone is just pointing at him, we're thinking, but Trump is not taking my blood. He's not putting needles in my breast. He's not checking my PSA for prostate cancer. He's not my lender. He's not the police officer patrolling my community.
Right.
And so while people may be surprised that black people aren't all over social media melting down and crying over Trump, because we've got something more fierce than Trump in our neighborhoods that we got to deal with. Our children have got to deal with. We're just trying to wait these 4 years out, ride these 4 years out, and deal with these nurses and dentists and professors and fellow students. You know, Lilada, one of the things that gets to me, and I'm dealing with this situation, and I'll be a little coded on it so I can speak more broadly about it. But when white leaders in organizations that boast about being concerned about diversity and inclusion and plurality of perspectives and abilities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, when they don't include us on the front end, when they're about to do something that's going to really hit the fan, the boo-boo is going to hit the fan. And either because it's HR or because it's really intricate or we didn't want to bother you or we didn't want to bother the person, it's interesting that when it hits the fan and it blows up, there are forums and there are community meetings where people want our help. They want us, when this hits the media, when this hits, it's going to hurt our black partners, and we know you're trusted, you're one of us, you get us. And I'm thinking, I'm the same me that you couldn't talk to before it hits the fan. Now you trust me. So we can't talk about constipation, but we can talk about explosive diarrhea. And I'm supposed to have an expertise in cleaning this up and working on this and around this. And when I was in that situation, I asked them, what are your plans? Like, you can't just put this on me.
Right.
This is not my job. You can't. You can't. So that's one of those things that make me go, oh shit, because you knew it was going to be ugly. You know I can be trusted. I've been in this game for all these years. When have you heard me just divulging somebody's background in business? That's why you have a kitchen cabinet. You have a folk. You're like, look, if you ever repeat what I'm about to say, I'm going to swear you didn't. I'm going to swear that I never said that to you. You're a bad person. You know, put some kind of stuff out on them. But to act like, oh, I can't, I really shouldn't. Now, let's show all the cards. Now, here's what's going on, and this is going to be really bad, and we're going to need your help in trying to straighten things out. I'm tired of it being expected that it's my job to clean those things up.
Are you talking,
and for free.
Are you talking about just in general? Or are you talking about what's going on politically right now?
I mean, we can get to politically, but I mean, this is with a particular agency or organization. But then we can take it even broader to, you know, the groups that are wanting black people because we can march, we can line up, we know how to take bags of urine, we know how to take bags of shit. We were trained in this. You know, we entered this whole civil rights fight when we didn't have civil rights. And so we knew what it was like to be treated as a 3/5 of a person or a second-class citizen. We knew how to take it and then still go to the juke joint.
Right.
We knew how to take it and still raise kids who would become physicians at Meharry.
Yeah.
We knew how to do that, and our kids and grandkids would start Alpha Phi Alpha and Alpha Kappa Alpha. We knew how to do this. Folks that are seeing stuff now that's happening with Trump that we've been trying to say, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. How many of them federal employees? What do you think the majority of them are black people? Do you like this stuff is hitting the Latino people that voted for him? It's hitting the white women that voted for him, and now people are looking for black people to show up. And all across social media, black people are saying, "Girl, you better not show up."
Especially black women, the 92% of us that voted another way. And it's interesting, okay, because that's the other level of it, where other groups, other ethnic groups are expecting us to bear their burden, join their fight, when none of them ever join our fight. And they don't even give us the credit for all we did to fight for the rights that they enjoy.
Exactly.
You know, there was a Latina lady who voted for Trump who was ranting about why don't black women help them. I'm like, girl,
No.
you
can't go on social media saying that. And I know the sisters lit into her, didn't they?
yeah, like, no, that we
told
tried
y'all.
to help you. We
Right.
tried to help you. And now that you're getting hit, now we're supposed to join the fight. No.
We've been fighting.
One of the funniest videos I saw was a split screen where this white woman is crying about losing her federal job. And there's a black woman on the other side eating popcorn and just listening to her.
Oh my goodness.
Another one where she just started vacuuming.
While she was doing that.
While she was complaining about what was going on. You know, I don't have the bandwidth to help nobody who didn't want to help themselves. Like, how did you not think this was going to hit you? How did you not think this was going to...
And how did they not think it was going to hurt you?
Right.
The very people that you're asking, why won't they come? Have you heard the stuff that this man has said about us
Right.
and our communities and folks who look like us being from shitholes and all
Right.
this kind of stuff?
Eating
And-
dogs and cats.
Yeah,
and stuff.
all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And it's like, no. Mm-mm.
And listen, for sympathetic, big-hearted folks who are listening, lean in and hear what we're saying. Black folks have been taking care of white people for 600 years. 500 years in this country, we've been taking care of white people, their children, their businesses, their homes, their floors.
Nursing them at our breasts.
Them, yes, their crops, their animals. We've been doing it. This is not like we landed here and all of a sudden we're like, no, I don't want to do that. We've done it. When it comes for a vote that helps us, where is everybody?
Right.
When, this man said what he's going to do about DEI and
Social Security.
and Social Security
Medicare
and all this
obviously.
kind of stuff and separating babies at the border and all
Right.
this but y'all were okay with it because you thought
Right.
you were going to keep your federal job. You didn't know that two men who look like your dad were going to get up in here, one of them with his son up on his shoulder, telling the president telling Trump to shush. First of all, could you imagine a black kid being in the White House on their dad's shoulder, telling the president to shh? You're not in charge around here. Did you see?
No, I did not see that.
That was
Vance, the son?
Musk's son.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
He told the
He
president
put his
to
finger on his
shush.
mouth to shh. You're not. What did he say, Jeremy? You're not the president. You're not in charge, or you're not the leader. It's like, okay, where'd you hear that from? Because the boy can't be more than 4 years old.
Ooh.
He told him shh. He said, "You need to shh because you're not in control."
Oh my God.
Yes, he
Well,
did.
that
Then you
was
can
a
see-
prophetic word.
Yes, and you can see him putting his finger to his mouth, telling him this. And this is all on TV. And then his name is X. That's what that little boy's name is. His name is X. And then with his goofy daddy, stand up there with him, with the boy on his shoulder, facing the president. And so the president's trying to bring in somebody who thinks is smart, is going to talk about efficiency.
And his son shut
Well,
him
guess who
down.
appeared to be inefficient?
Oh my God.
Even a 4-year-old boy could tell
Oh my
that Trump
God.
was inefficient by telling
Wow.
him, "Shh, shush. You need to shush. He said, you need to shush. You are not the president." That's what he said. You need to shush. You are not the
That
president.
was the Lord speaking.
Through the mouth of babes.
Yep.
Through the mouth. So when all this stuff starts going on, who thought that Trump was going to start with all those federal workers and all those things? Now, I think that's
The
going to be a mess for our country
veterans.
and all of that kind of stuff. Because, people in the Rust Belt voted for him and then ended up still having factories and stuff closed up. Paul Ryan tried to run with him. Don't they understand he eats his babies? Don't you understand that anything that's coming that could take the spotlight off of him, he's going to fight, and people keep thinking he's going to elevate them.
And all these farmers that voted for him and now they're crying because they're losing $400,000. Their workers are afraid to show up because they think ICE is going to come and get them, and they're
'Cause they
crying
are.
about their farms. And somebody asked Trump, "Can you just not take my workers?" Because I need them for my farm. Can you not take my workers? And I also heard that a group of pastors said, can you not allow ICE to come into our churches to take people? Like,
They want a special.
the church is supposed to be an
coverage.
asylum. You're not supposed to be able to do that. Nope.
Because they thought by holding up that Bible upside down that he was a savior. They thought he's God's man. And so now God's man is coming into their churches and taking the sanctuary away from the sanctuary. And they're asking the same one, would he give them special allowance? They're trying to appeal to his heart. How do you appeal to the heart of a machine?
Have you heard about what he wants to do with the Gaza Strip?
Yeah, a little bit of that.
He wants to buy it up and put a huge gold statue of himself and make it into the new Riviera. Move all the Palestinians to a really nice place. Well, will the Palestinians be welcome there? No, they'll have a really nice place they can go. He wants to buy it up.
Yeah, that sounds Old Testament. I think Nebuchadnezzar did that. Didn't work out too well for him.
Yeah.
Wow. That ought to make everybody go, shit.
Right. I mean, I don't think that's what the Jewish people had in mind. I don't think that's what they're fighting for.
They got it. But people are voting, and it just, ugh.
Yeah.
No, this is deep. Let me see. We got a few more minutes. Let's see if I can find anything. I don't know if I can take this any lower. Well, I think this is important just to tease out. When you come out with your next season of Defending Black Girlhood, I think you should really do an episode or two, if not a series, on this. When you are personally called upon to empower Black women in a setting like at our church, because Black women have taken care of everyone, beginning with Black men and other groups, and so very few people have really proliferated your voice and your needs. And so when you have that space, when you're called upon to help Black women wrestle with that reality and how to find their strength, their agency, their voice, and all of this, you find pushback from white women who only want to learn about race relations in Black women's space, but they don't want to talk about race in white women's space. They only want to. They don't. I was talking to a white woman once who said it's hard for white women with Black children to go to a Black church because they know how Black women are going to look at them. I said, well, so does that mean that white women are accepting? Well, no. And then they start telling about women and their families and how they reacted to their children.
So why are you worried about us?
Exactly, so that they don't have to worry about themselves. But it's so interesting, like, your biggest fear is what Black women are going to think about you. Right. But the reality is, white women that don't accept you or your choices. Right. Or your kids or your kid's father.
And Black women aren't even like that. I heard this guy from the Middle East. He said, when me and my siblings were younger, he said, my mom told me, if you are ever in trouble, if you ever need help, and I'm not around, find a Black woman because she will help you. Find a Black woman. Interesting. She'll help you. So we're not surprised a white woman got Black kids. Right. That don't shock us. Right. We might tell her how to do their hair. But that don't surprise us.
Right. So to be fearful about how Black women are going to look at them. Right. And haven't even wrestled with, all right, so then take those same children to an all-white setting. Right. Are you at home then?
They are, but their kids aren't.
Bingo.
And that's their level of comfort. But here's the thing. The thing is that white women love Black men, but they don't love Black women. So that's why they feel uncomfortable, because most women who will marry a Black man, have children with Black men, do not have any Black women friends at all.
Now, who says that out loud?
So that's why they feel some kind of way, because they haven't taken the effort to build a relationship with white women.
With Black women.
With Black women, because they love Black men, but they don't love us.
So then when their young girls grow up to become black women,
Exactly.
what's the
Exactly.
what's the dynamic, particularly when that black daughter, she's biracial, but that black daughter identifies black
Right.
and wants natural hair and wants to go and do black cultural things.
Right.
Sometimes those mothers feel like they're being rejected because their daughters
Exactly.
are going black
Exactly.
the way the moms did. They're just going
Exactly.
culturally.
And they don't know how to deal with the blackness of their daughters because they don't know how to deal with black women.
And they don't have aunties and
no.
godmothers and people that can help.
No, unless we are in a subservient role. If I'm there to clean your house, you know how to deal with me. If I'm there to wipe your child's ass, you know how to deal with me.
Or do your child's hair.
Or do your child's hair, or if you're my supervisor, you know how to deal with me. But if there's any level of equality, that now you don't know how to deal with me. Now you don't know how to talk to a black woman. Now you don't know how to, experience us. And so when we try to create spaces where it's critical that black women need spaces that we can gather and talk and share and be ourselves and be free of microaggressions, because the moment we walk out of our houses, we are attacked with microaggressions every day, all the time, every place, in the hospital, at TJ Maxx, at the grocery store. I don't care where we go,
Airport,
at work,
church.
at the airport. Yeah. So
That's so interesting.
when we need to find space to rejuvenate ourselves, it's intimidating to white women. But when white women are in all white women spaces, particularly in a city like Madison, there are a ton of all white women spaces. When they're in white women spaces, they're not saying, where are the black women? And why can't we all just get along? They're not calling on those white women to make space for us. But when black women say we need to gather, then the question is, why can't we all just get along?
And why can't we come in those spaces? Because I want to learn.
Right.
But they don't want to talk about it among themselves. They want to talk about it with you.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Shit.
Yes. Shit. Whew. Well, you know what? I think I've had enough of this shitty conversation. I'm feeling a little heavy, a little dirty.
My God.
But this podcast was created to say those kinds of things and to air those kinds of things, because it's better to say it than to eat it
Yeah.
and let that stuff fester inside. And so, hey, this is why you listen to Black Like Me. It's why you share it with your friends. It's why you support us on Patreon, because you want the real deal. You don't want what seems like a sterilized version of what's going on. These we're not super black people. We're not ultra black people. We're not many black people. We are average black people. Well, we're above average a little later.
Yeah. Okay.
But we're black people. And what we're saying, millions experience.
Yes.
Millions experience. It's what your black friends mean when they say, I'm tired of being the only one. I need to go find some black space. I need to see a black movie, a black film, listen to some black jazz. I need to go to a black movie. This is what we're saying. We want something that reinforces us, because these are things that happen whether or not you're finding out about your diagnosis, or you're getting your blood drawn, or you're applying for a job, or you think you're doing an interview about the $30 million you've raised in a little over 3 years, and you're asked about petty crap that some black person talked to you about who's probably not even made the cut to be in your article. Yet you want me to count on someone whose opinion apparently is not that relevant, because then you could tell me who said it, because it would be in the article. So why are you talking to me about something so irrelevant? Yeah. Yes. Whew. Well, we're getting it out there. I'm glad that we can talk about something other than what everybody else is talking about. There's a lot going on in Washington, a lot that's going on around in the world. You know what? Let me let me at least say this. Let me just add something that's somewhat of a bright note. One of the questions that this interviewer asked was, how do I feel about this challenge of not recognizing Black history in February? And, my point was, you know that rights were given to us 100 years before they were ratified in the Civil Rights Act and the Voters Registration Act. It took 100 years. Yeah. So the president may not want to celebrate Juneteenth. You mean the day that commemorates us being duped again and Texas deciding some 3 years later to give Black people the rights that they were given before the federal government removes troops and protection that keeps those rights? We were Black and successful before Juneteenth. We were Black and successful and excellent in this country. We were Black and successful for eons before that. Lilada and I have traced our matrilineal families back to the Balanta tribe in Guinea-Bissau, and I've been able to trace some of their existence 2, 3, 5,000 years BC. Not always in Guinea-Bissau, but in other places in the world where they've moved. We're not an afterthought. We've been around here a long, long time, and we have a lot to exercise. And so I don't need Trump to help me celebrate Black History Month. I celebrate my birthday every year without any federal support. And we're doing this work on the Center for Black Excellence in Culture because we want Black history to be commemorated every day. So good. Take February. Shove February.
Right.
We're going to take the rest of the year. We've been wanting something that wasn't the shortest and the coldest month anyhow. But if they're thinking, I'm going to sit up and crying, like, how are we going to be us? How are we going to dream? How are we going to be Black? It's like you said, every day we walk out of our house, we are reminded.
Yes.
We are Black. And so I just feel like this is a chance to do something different. So let's take the rest of the year. Let's make a Black History Year.
Hey.
Let's talk about Target's dipping stocks and what's happening with all these people that are talking real bold about we don't need this. Oh, but you thought that we were going to be house shoppers. And so you're going to talk about us and our mama and them, and then we're going to still bring our food stamps up in Target, our paychecks up in Target. We found that there's someplace else other than the big orange whore where they're orange. What color is Target? Red. The big, we can do more than just chase the big red whore. We can do all kind of stuff, but now they got to explain to their stockholders and their leaders who are about to sue. You told me this.
Yeah, the stockholders about to sue them.
Because they didn't know that was going to hurt their bottom line. And that's just the beginning. That was just like a day or two. Watch what we're about to do. Watch what we're about to do. But we don't have to lead on this. Let somebody else take the lead. Let somebody else take it and run with it. So my whole point is I was excellent before we knew what DEI was. My mother was excellent before the Civil Rights Act was signed. My grandmother was excellent in the midst of Jim Crow South. We worked farms, we grew collard greens, we slaughtered hogs, we slopped chickens, we fed our families. She raised children to work for motor companies and automobile companies and get retirement and buy homes, and there was no federal plan protecting us. And so we want to let the white folks know out there, we good.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of crap, but we are good.
Good.
And I am bent on showing Trump, America, whoever else cares to look, that they haven't even seen the depth of our excellence. And we don't need 3 letters, DEI, in order to let us get to where we are. Because I want them to see, you didn't promote me. You didn't make me. You can't take credit for me. So by removing it, they're going to see just how smart and strong Black people are.
Well, but you got to also realize that the people who benefit the most from DEI, just like affirmative action, are white women.
White women. Who largely, so many voted for Trump, not the ones who voted the other way. But I'm just saying,
So many voted for Trump
could not have been elected without
white
women.
And like you said, we're gonna be okay. We know how to make gravy from flour.
Right. Well, old folks say make do. We know how to make do.
Yes, we know how to make some beans and some rice. We know how to make do.
I brought you a pot of greens today.
Yeah.
That bag of greens was $1.68 each. I cooked 3 bags of them and some turkey tails, which is like $6. So for $10 and a bell pepper and an onion, so about $11. I made some collard greens, and you're going to find out when you go home that'll make your toes curl like that. And then some Jiffy Mix cornbread. I know some of y'all don't think it's real cornbread, but it is. And that was 38 cents a box. We're going to make do.
Yeah.
We are going to make do. But America and the world is about to recognize. They're about to recognize how in the midst of everything, Black people still rise. And when you try to sideline us, you're going to realize what we built and how your success has been built upon us.
Yes.
And I think the country and the world is in for a rude awakening. And to be quite honest, Black folks are going to be sitting on the side, eating popcorn, vacuuming their floors, filing their nails, folding their towels, while they're watching all these people on TV lose their mind because they're going to be saying, we tried to tell y'all, but y'all thought he was just coming for us in the border. You never thought that he was coming for you all, but guess what? He is.
You didn't fucked around and found out.
Oh, that's a whole nother episode. I don't know if I can say that, though. Some of the church members might be listening. But
I'll say it for you.
Wow. Listen, folks, I have been talking to the Black version of the unsinkable Molly Brown, my sister Lilada Gee. We always have these interesting conversations, and we don't save them just for the podcast. This is how we talk on the phone. We'll work all day together in the office and then go home and call and say, guess what I just saw? Guess what I just read? Guess who crazy now? Guess what they doing now? I saw this TikTok. You got to watch it. But it's so great. And the lady shares so vulnerably, which just reminding me, you need to get your next season up. You need to get your next season up. And when it's ready, I want you to come back so we can make sure that we remind our listeners to take a listen to some of the work that we're doing. But you've done some great work. You're putting some things up. And so we're going to make sure that we do put a link to your podcast here.
Thank you.
Because particularly the work that you did with Erica Hill, some of the research you did on this missing Black woman who's in the midst of, 60,000 other Black missing women thereabouts in this country. Just some great, great work. And so I want people to get a chance to know that. And can we also put a link to some of your artwork to wherever that place is? We want to put a link up, even if it's to your social media.
I have an online store.
Your online store, Society 6. We'll put those links in there because we want people to see that your artwork has become shower curtains and pillowcases and floor mats and sleeping bags and mugs and just really, really cute stuff. So listen, you all. I'm excited about season 11. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of material to share with you. And so I'm going to need you to really lean in with us in this season. I'm going to need you to get your friends involved, share the link, repost it, talk about what you're learning, talk about what we're talking about. Don't just hoard it, but share it. I need you to help to bring some new people into this space because we want people's eyes to be open, because we want them to be a part of the change that they want to see. So please do that. Thank you for being our listeners because you're the most important part of Black Like Me podcast. And we're glad to be re-engaged with this new season. So have a great day. Take care of yourselves. Process what you've heard. Lean in and be the change we all need you to be. We've teed this up. Knock this out the park and be the allies that we need. All right? Have a great day. And thank you so much for supporting Black Like Me podcast.
Black like me. Black like me.
I want to thank you for taking time to listen to this episode of Black Like Me podcast with Dr. Alex Gee. If you like that opening track of our theme song, you can show your appreciation to Corey Saffold, who created that and produced it, and Marcus Fleming, my cousin, who's on vocals. I also want to say that this podcast was started with the generous support of the Human Family Unity Foundation, and so we always want to stop and thank them for that. For the many patrons who support us through our Patreon page, thank you, thank you, thank you. You don't just listen, but you support, you lean in, and you help this podcast to be what it is. And then I need to thank you, the listeners, who make a point of downloading this, listening to it, and sharing it. Without all of you, this podcast would not be what it is and what it's becoming. Thank you so much.